Part 77 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. This part, we're just going to be doing the rest of the closing statements of our 2021 landmark civil trial. So I left off on the last part of Sean Driz being his own attorney and doing his own closing statements. And yeah, here's some more great quotes from him. He says to the jury, "I stand here today very proud of the human being that I am." Really? Sean then says that if the roles were reversed, he totally would have saved a stranger too. What does that even mean? Like, you were assaulting strangers, not saving them, and people had to step in to try to save their lives to stop you. Like, it's so weird. Okay, so next up is William Joelson as his own attorney giving his closing statement. It really makes no sense, and I'm not going to bore you guys through it, but one of the things that I just wanted to drop again, just in case his ex-girlfriend is seeing this, so she knows what he's still saying about her, despite her not lying about anything that happened. He accused his ex-girlfriend again of filing a false lawsuit, which the judge and everybody with eyes, ears, and a brain knows that's not how it went. Next up for closing statements is Alberto Daniel Driz. And he starts off by blaming TMZ for provoking celebs for money, which is half right. But you and TMZ seem to be in pretty good cahoots and all that stuff, so whatever. He then says that it's improbable and impossible that me, Anne Green, could have jumped a 6-foot fence. And he says, unless she's a high jumper for the Olympics, I find that hard to believe. Thick. Alberto also notes that he says, and I quote, "I have a wonderful relationship with my ex-wife." Okay. Alberto then proceeds to lie about his age and says that he's older than he is. Then he lies about the schmexual battery of the underage girl that he was found guilty of. And then he lies about Sean Driz, his nephew. He lies about Sean's age and he makes him younger because he's just an innocent little boy. So that was pretty much the gist of Alberto's closing statement. And then next we have Maurice. Maurice starts off with, "I didn't bring any notes or scripts because to remember the truth is easy," which is funny because William and Alberto had just read a script before he went up. So I don't know what that means, but okay. So after he says that the truth is easy, he immediately lies about his age, makes himself older. And then he says, "I come from a really nice family." And then he mentions that his sister works at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, because that's relevant. And then he mentions that he says, "I have a daughter. I had a wonderful mother." Are we all falling for this? Good. Okay, so this is we're nearing the end. And I left a lot of stuff out just because it's redundant, and I think you get the gist, but it's this on steroids, everything that I've been saying. So our attorneys get back up because you're allowed to get back up to kind of say more of your closing statement, especially if the attorneys are spewing lies and stuff like that still, which was happening. So our attorney gets up and he pretty much says, "The Drizes will not take responsibility for almost unaliving Anne." And at that point, Maurice Driz, who doesn't have a voice, he screams and he threatens the court that he will leave. Because how dare we, have evidence. And at this point, the judge yells, "Be quiet, stop it, don't talk back to me." Like she has had enough. Like she's yelling right back at them. And then while this is happening too, so then our attorney mentions how Alberto Driz was caught red-handed, closing his right fist many, 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 many times during the trial. Just pointing out just the obvious stupid stuff. And I also just wanted to read a quote from one of the plaintiff attorneys that was said in the closing arguments from the transcript. He said, "It's about justice. It's about doing the right thing. The medical care as part of that award that we asked for is not to cure them. It's not to undo this. It's not to make it go away forever. It can't happen. It's to make days more bearable somehow, some way. It's about knowing that they can't get away with it anymore, that it's over, that they can't continue running, that there's finally some accountability." And at this point, the closing arguments end, and the jury leaves the courtroom to go deliberate. Okay, I'm going to do the verdict on the next part, and then after that, we'll do the punitive, and then you'll see what happens. Thank you, guys.